Alright, what we're going to do is look at this Volvo Penta 280. I believe it is a 280, according to the serial number here, or model number. I really don't know which. I'm going to attempt to take this apart. What I have discovered is that the seal, which is inside this area right here, is leaking. And I know that because the rubber bellows that was on here was had a bunch of holes in it when I bought the boat, and of course there was plenty of milky white oil inside the outdrive, so I knew there was water in the outdrive. Drained it, flushed it, and then refilled it, and put the boat in the water, got it running. No oil, or I'm sorry, no water going into the oil anymore, but after each day's run I would check the oil level and it would be low. And I'm wondering, where is the oil going? I could see no evidence of oil leaving the outdrive when it was in the water or anything like that, or on the trailer for that matter. When I took the bellows off, there is oil, there's outdrive oil inside here which cannot escape because of the seal that the new bellows creates between the engine bell housing assembly and the transmission. I had already previously replaced the U-joints or crosses. These are not the expensive ones. They seem to be doing fine and they're in good shape right now. And I replaced them without taking this component out of the transmission because I didn't know how, and it was a bit tricky, but I was able to do it without too much trouble, so it is possible. Now this transmission itself is in good operating condition. I'm going to go ahead and roll it onto its side now. Operationally, it's in very good condition. By the way, there are shims on here. If you've read anything about these things, you'll know that there are shims, I believe it's for this bearing surface, that go, when you bolt this down, there's a load or preload that's set on this stuff, and those shims are still in the midsection of the outdrive that is still attached to the boat. So, for all intents and purposes, I'm hoping that this is a solid transmission with no problems other than it needs a seal in this area here. Now, I'm also having a hard time with the fact that over here on the transmission side, or the shift side, that there's not some kind of seal in here that might be leaking too. However, I don't have water. There's no water getting in here anymore. My assumption is when the bellows was broken, water was coming in through that front seal, and not on this side, but it sure looks kind of it doesn't look good out here. There's obviously water is always touching this part of the transmission. So, all right, I'm gonna go ahead and get started in a second. Because we're cold. All right, we're gonna heat it up. I have no idea how much to heat this thing up. I'm guessing and hoping I don't do any damage. This bolt is kind of stuck. So the other three are loose. This one didn't want to open up. Not sure how much heat to put on it. No way.
turn it off.
All right, we put about 10 minutes worth of heat on it, at least. Ambient temperature outside is probably 48. This thing sitting overnight is probably sitting at, can't be any more than 40 degrees, probably less than that. So heating this up, quite a task, but I was able to break it loose, and we'll see if we can remove the bolt without damaging anything. Alright, there it is. The bolt looks good. Let's get the other ones out. That one looks good. Good. There's a special bolt for that position. It's got a hole in it. There's an O-ring for the seal.
Uh-oh, Houston, we got a problem.
Whatever.
Battery's almost dead.
Nah, don't worry about it. Alright, there's the cover. There's obviously an O-ring seal here for it. I don't see any shims. Whoop, here's a shim. Something to be aware of. I don't plan at this point to replace any bearings, so all shims will go back in as they came out. Alright, I've got the workshop manual here. I'm going to see if I can refer to some pages in this thing to help me continue working on this transmission. What I need to know now is what I really need to take apart to get this seal replaced. So we're going to take the shifter mechanism off. I've already loosened the bolts. There was no issue getting these to come loose. What it looks like inside, I have no idea. We're going to hope it pops off. Alright, this is the shift mechanism. It has an O-ring seal. I had to carefully use this. I made sure it was sharp just to kind of break it loose and pull it back. Had to do it very because you don't want to mess up the surfaces here or here for that matter. And this obviously has the effect of rotating this back and forth, pushing it back and forth. So that's what gives me forward and reverse. I just noticed there's a -5 there. That probably means something shim-wise or something, but something to note. All right. Very good. That's pretty simple. All right, we're heating up the last of the 4 bolts that hold this collar on. I'm not sure what the technical name is. It's in there, clamping collar. And I've already done 3 of them and got them to crack loose. This is the last one. And I'm hoping it's about warm enough. I'm going to go ahead and put the torch down. And actually I mean it's not really that hot, but there it goes. So that is the 4th one. And I can tell you right now, These bolts had absolutely no intention of coming loose, but putting just that much heat on it allowed me to get these things to crack loose and come out. So I'm very happy about that, and we're going to take these bolts out and see if we can get this clamp collar off and expose the double bearing gear, or whatever it is it's called in here. Alright, we got all the bolts out. This seems to be coming out, and there we go. I'm just noticing there's an O-ring seal right here, and there it is. Okay. Again, bearing wise, this is in very good shape. There's no slack or play. I'm noticing another number here, -8. That probably has to do with some kind of gear lash or preload or something. Who knows? I don't see any shims yet. There might be some shims in here. I don't know. There might be some shimming on this surface. I'm guessing there are. See what we got here. Yep, there's the shims right there. Okay? So we'll make sure that those go back after everything's cleaned up. Alright. I'm hoping to get this yoke out of the back of this assembly. That's the objective anyway. Take this out. I need to pay attention to what I got going on here. These are obviously splines that are splined to the yoke. Okay. Alright, I'm going to have to refer to the workshop manual to see what I'm going to do next. I'll be right back. Alright, so what we did in order to get the drive shaft yoke out of this double bearing thing, remove the clamping washer here, collar, put the bolt back in, and I had to tap on that bolt head. I used the Allen wrench and just tapped it while holding the assembly, and finally it just broke loose and came out. Of course, the bolt will come right out. That's not a problem. Now, as far as this assembly, and as you can see, there's shims here and an O-ring. There's a pin also, a locating pin right here that's important to note, so you don't break that off reassembly, and then of course the corresponding spot here. So I've gently tapped out this assembly from the clamping ring, taking it forward. Again, noting very carefully there are some shims here. Now, once again, the whole purpose for taking this apart is there was water coming in through the broken bellows, the rubber bellows. There was water coming into the transmission through this area. I'm noticing some rust here. I don't know if that's just normal, whether there be water coming in or not. There's some rust here, and I'm noticing an O-ring right here. There's also an O-ring that sits on this spot, which seals this shaft against the U-joint shaft here. So all of these things have to be in working order, and quite honestly, there doesn't seem to be any problem with this O-ring. It looks to be in okay shape. This O-ring, I haven't taken it off yet, but it appears that it is okay. I don't see anything seriously wrong with it. Once again, I've got shims here, and I need to be absolutely certain that I put the correct shims back, because these shims were on the front of it along with this O-ring, so I got to make sure I don't get those mixed up. What I'll wind up doing is taking them off, and I'll mic the thickness, the total thickness, and I'll just notate how thick these shims were on this side and how thick they were there. If I mix them up, I'll put them back together so they're the proper thickness when I reassemble. Now, I'm going to take this seal out. There's a collar ring here that I need to get out that goes around this, the gear, I guess the gear shaft. But this is actually a ring in here that I'm going to take out. Once I get that out, it'll allow me to pry this seal off of here. So that's what's coming up next. Alright? Alright, so the double bearing assembly is out of the clamping collar. I've gone ahead and I've removed the snap ring. Once again, these are the shims and the O-ring that were on the back side of this, so that's very important. And then I just simply pried the seal out of the assembly, which of course had a spring-loaded seal, and going to go ahead and this is a collar washer, they call it, and there's shims behind it. And as you can see, these shims are very important. They sit on top of the actual gear assembly shaft. So there's obviously a very important relationship between this component, these shims, and the whole assembly and the preload. Now, I guess the typical issue here is, if you look at this carefully, you can see lots of what I guess would be corrosion. I kind of messed up a few areas here, but this is the sealing surface for this seal. So how the water was getting in here, one of several ways, was either coming through the O-ring seal here into the gear transmission assembly, or it was the O-ring that sits on here getting by that, or it was getting between these two surfaces here, this one and this one. Apparently that's the most common from what I understand. Or the water was getting through between this surface and that. So regardless, all the O-rings will get replaced. I'm going to buy a new one of these, and I'm going to go ahead and mic everything. The trick is, if you replace these, it does have a impact on preload on these bearings, so that's going to be important. It's all apart. Wasn't that bad, and I'm going to go ahead and order the parts and reassemble once I have them. All right.